Good evening, Clearbrook class of 2013. We've all managed to make it through the numerous books, math problems, science labs, and football games to finally get a chance to sit amongst hundreds of our peers in our flashy red gowns. Most of us are finally adults and get to do all sorts of fun stuff, like getting summoned for jury duty or paying our own taxes. But as adults, our lives are about to change. The last 12 or so years of our lives have been pretty straightforward and carefree in retrospect, as Rebecca Black so very nicely laid out for us back our sophomore year. For most of us, we get up in the morning, we go downstairs, we have a bowl of cereal, rush to the bus stop, be indecisive about whether to be kicking it in the front seat or sitting in the back seat when our friends come to pick us up, and most importantly, we look forward to Friday. But after we walk out of here tonight, none of us is going to be able to figure out exactly where our lives will take us. Even those of you who have planned out your futures will face situations that you did not anticipate. Honestly, I'm probably more undecided about my future than a lot of you, so I'm not going to sit here and bore you with personal anecdotes about how to deal with life's challenges, but I'll try to use a few things from our childhood to say a couple of things I think are pretty important. At this point, we've all heard the saying, "the sky's the limit," dozens of times. However, we sometimes forget and assume that there are limits to what we can accomplish, but that's not true. Usually, limits are barriers that we can break with motivation, hard work, and dedication. I think Disney does an exemplary job of showing us that true heroes don't limit themselves based on societal constraints. Mulan fights the patriarchal traditions of ancient China by deciding to fight against the Huns by impersonating a man, which at the time was punishable by death. Despite China believing that only men were fit to serve in the military, Mulan proves everyone wrong and shows that she's swift as a coursing river, forceful as a great typhoon, and strong as a raging fire when she earns respect as a national hero. Also, it's important to understand that we always need to be prepared to face adversity head-on without backing down. Even if we fail, we will learn from that experience and eventually achieve our true potential. Ash Ketchum's life motto was, "I want to be the very best Pokemon trainer, like no one ever was." Anyone who's seen the first episode of Pokemon, though, knows that Ash had multiple bumps along his path to become the best he could possibly be. In the very first episode, Ash accidentally ends up with a temperamental Pokemon called Pikachu and is laughed at by his peers. But Ash faces the challenge head-on without beating around the bush and does everything he possibly can to strengthen that bond, and he eventually does succeed. In the end, all that we can ask of ourselves is that we do not shy away from the challenges and we take our best shot to overcome them. Even if things don't work out in the end, we can be proud that we did our best. Actor Bradley Whitford clearly states this idea by saying, "At the end of your days, you'll be judged by your gallop, not by your stumble." The stumbles and the lessons will help us be stronger when we face adversity again and ultimately lead to our success. So let's ride on to the future and meet life's challenges head on. But then, above all, however, it's important that each of us live our lives to the fullest every single day. If there ever was a character who embodied the spirit, it was Ferris Bueller, who said, "Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it." I think most of us would agree that the past few years have gone pretty quickly. Soon, we're going to be 40 years old, wondering where the time went, with a couple of kids of our own. Hopefully they're not as bad as us, though. At the end of our lives, all that really matters is happiness. So find something you love to do, and don't do it just for the money. If you love what you do, then you'll probably end up being more motivated to succeed in that field too. But no matter what you do, you'll probably feel stressed at some point. And at that point, just remember the wise words of Bobby McFerrin when he says, "In your life, expect some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy." But before I end the speech, there are some people I need to thank. First, I need to thank my parents. They have been there every step of the way to cheer me on and support me when I needed help. Don't know what I would have done without them. But then there's my brother. Too young to stay home alone, he got pushed to go to a lot of my activities while he'd much rather have been content playing at home. Then I'd like to thank all of my teachers who believed in me and pushed me to be who I am today. From the ones who taught me how to write a cursive A, to the one that taught me about scarlet A's, how to debate, or what profundity truly is. Thanks to Mrs. Staley for her weekly Go Wolverines pep talks on the call-outs and her general openness. Also, thank you so much to the counselors and the administration who were always open to everything I needed. And finally, I need to thank my friends. You guys have been there for me and have cheered me on to help me get to this point. And as Blaine said, maintaining relationships and close connections with our friends is crucial. So at the end of the day, let's remember, don't let others set your limits. Mulan didn't. Try your hardest to overcome adversity. Even if you stumble, get back up and finish the job, just like Ash. And most importantly, don't worry, be happy. But I want you all to remember just one more thing. We were all linked together by our experiences from these last 4 years. We may all be different, but as Bruce Lee says, under the sky, under the heavens, there is but one family. Thanks, everyone. Good luck in the future.
Yo, Clear Brook, here's a little thing we wrote for y'all. Boots and cuts and boots and cuts.
I'm Rich Dog, and this is Being Money. And listen up, because this may sound a little funny.
But buckle up and enjoy the show, because lights, camera, action, here we go.
First, we gotta thank our moms and dads for providing us with strong launching pads.
And teachers and principals for the help they gave. They definitely taught us how to behave.
We started out our freshman year, wide-eyed, nervous, and full of fear.
Of freshman Fridays and Mooney's tests, this was the start of our 4-year quest.
The bottom of the food chain, lowly fish, to survive till sophomore year was our only wish.
We walked up and down the brand new halls, which seemed so big for 2 guys so small.
Good morning, Clear Brook. Started 10th grade, no longer freshmen, our imagery made.
We became more aware of our world today. It wasn't black and white, but 51 shades of gray.
We had troops fighting for freedom far, far away, taking out America's most wanted in May.
Egypt was up in arms, using Twitter to fight oppression. What's our place in the world? We started to question.
Thinking these thoughts, we started junior year. We said goodbye to the buses without shedding a tear.
Thinking about college and the future in store, it became apparent that we had 2 years more.
Gotta shout out to Ms. Jones, you're the best, even though your timed writings and tests made us stressed.
You put up with a lot from Danny Rohan Collin and us. Some of the things we'd rather not discuss.
We all were paranoid of sticky notes with X's, the only charity-based game of assassins in Texas.
We watched the class of 2012 leave. The fact that we were next was hard to believe.
Senior year was full of highs, but also the fear of saying goodbyes.
All of a sudden, we were saying, whoa, where, oh, where did the time go?
All we do is win, win, win no matter what, especially when it comes to beating Lake football. What?
We soon had to deal with applications for college, ready to go forth and gain more knowledge.
Having Booney again was a great treat, learning about pretty horses and paper football elite.
As seniors, we were on top of the world. Next year to the bottom, we will be hurled.
It's been good, Clear Brook, 4 years we'll never forget, but our greatest moments haven't even happened yet.
There's so much more to accomplish post-graduation, but we'll always remember being a part of Brook Nation.
Good luck, guys. Have a great life.